Ourselves up, dusting ourselves off after the hot mess that was yesterday. Welcome into the PHNX Cardinals podcast. It is your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your podcast or programming. I'm John Venerable, joined. Is that Justin Bieber? Tom Cruise?
Oh,
no,
come
it's
on.
Bo
Yeah.
Brack, live at the PHNX headquarters in downtown Phoenix. Looking swank, looking good. Look good, feel good, Bo Brack. And will that be the motto for the Arizona Cardinals?
Because that's what's going on today, right? After you didn't think anything could get any worse, and the Arizona Cardinals is the complete redeemer? Absolutely not. The accusations, the allegations yesterday remain as serious as they come. But as far as the Cardinals go, getting new uniforms, this is something that this show especially is going to spike the football over. Kyle Odegaard pretty much confirming reports because – you know, Kyle, one of the guys we respect as far as the reporters out there, and his information is rock solid. When he says it, I take it as the gospel. Kyle Odegaard reporting the Arizona Cardinals are getting new uniforms in 2023, and they're expected to unveil them by the NFL draft. Before the NFL draft, Johnny, that means within the next 3 weeks, you and I, our eyes, me and these that are being saved by the sun, these shady rays, we're going to get a glimpse of what these new duds look like. Can't wait.
Can't wait. And again, we'll preface all this by saying we know there are other reports out there. We've credited those reports. But Kyle's a friend of the show. We feel good. We've talked to Kyle. I had heard rumblings about what the new helmet would look like. I have not seen prototypes of the jersey, but you don't need to hear it from me because you know it's coming now. In the next 3 weeks, we're going to get new jerseys ahead of the NFL draft. And I was talking to Bo off air. We kind of trying to tackle. It's hard to tackle this team right now because you want something to feel good about. And it's like, well, can I support the Cardinals knowing that there could be some shady shit going on? Well, hell yeah, you can. Support the good people of the organization. Support the players that you love. And their uniforms are ass. They've been trash since the minute they debuted them. And we've been pushing this, manifesting this into existence. I won't toot my own horn, but every time I got in front of Steve Keim or Monti Ossenfort or a head coach for this franchise, they said, hey, where are these new uniforms? Because your current uniforms, not any good, right? And so I'm excited. I'm cautiously optimistic because my stance has and will continue to be, this is impossible to screw up because their current uniforms are so ghastly awful. Not the helmet, but the current threads are so bad that, you can contextualize it however you want, mock-ups, whatever. But it's a good time right now to be able to say there's a win. We haven't had too many wins, Bo Brack. There is a win for this fan.
Yeah, here's a rare offseason dub for the Arizona Cardinals. I love Tom Baum in the chat with my shades on. How dare you call me Chad Bo? But you know what? It kind of fits a little bit as I wear sunglasses inside. My co-host can pull it off. I mean, you see Johnny all the time wearing shades inside. I'm not an inside glasses wearer. I don't subscribe to the Corey Ham sunglasses at night song. I don't. Let's get to this super chat here because it has to do with the uniforms. It's Z Professor, $5 super chat. Thanks so much. Love the avatar you got there, the Will Smith after finding out his wife telling everybody that she had an affair on him. He's got
entanglement. It was an entanglement.
The entanglement. Oh, man. It's convenient. It's confirmed today after yesterday's news. Yes, it is very convenient. And I think that, my co-host was going to bring that up, Johnny. Isn't it very convenient? Because obviously, as we mentioned, Kyle, very well respected and somebody that leaks a ton of information from this organization. Is very convenient, the timing of this release of information.
And I don't want to sit here and dog on Kyle's report.
No, you're not. That's not an indictment on him.
No, he's connected to the right people within the franchise. And whether they put out the bat signal, they put out the flyers this morning. It's Kyle broke the news and Kyle got that information. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Kyle got that information. I mean, Kyle's been fair in his reporting. He's one of our go-to reporters and sources when it comes to the franchise because he's been right more often than not. He was connected to that organization for a decade. And so now it's just like, if you are the Cardinals, this was your hand to play. This was your singular card, your hand, your deck, whatever you want to call it, to play. Because I was thinking about it this morning before this came out, and it was like, well, a Hopkins trade doesn't make things necessarily better today. You
Mm-mm.
know, you don't anticipate a trade down right now, and people would be pissed because you wouldn't get Will Anderson. There'd be fans that would be happy about a trade down, but you know, the big comment I see on that is trading down to give more picks to Goodell when you have a suspension for, you know, Bidwell and whatever. This is really, I mean, there's no free agent to sign. This was their card to play, and they played it. Kudos to them, I guess. I would have preferred they announced it, you know, to me at the combine, or, you know, talked about it last week when we were pubbing it up. But regardless, doesn't matter how it went down. We're going to give Kyle the endless amount of credit for this. It's happening. And the team is going to be able, like I talked about, like Bo's talked about, new regime, new coach, new GM, new assistant GM, new players, new uniforms, right? I know everybody's still up in arms that Bidwill is still the owner. That's not changing. And I think, you know, most people have kind of doubled or tripled down on that today. But this franchise, in my opinion, you don't have to agree with this, can succeed despite the owner. Let me repeat that.
Sure.
They get the right people involved, which it sounds like they have, and people around the NFL are excited about it. What we're hearing, the enabling of Ossenfort and Dave Sears and Jonathan Gannon. I think Michael Bidwill does not have to be the root cause of the problems continuing on. And so I can be excited about this. Bo can be excited about this. You're allowed as a Cardinal fan to get hyped for these new uniforms because they are officially coming via Kyle Odegaard, and just say, hey, we got some other shit that they need to clean up on the side.
Yeah, absolutely. You can have little victories even amongst the mess that this team has created, and it's been, you know, pretty. You know, dysfunction is the word that's been thrown around a lot. It's been, especially for the last calendar year, it's been dysfunctional. And you hope that they've put the right people in place to help take this and usher this organization finally into one that's going to compete in this incredibly tough league. In the NFL, it will weed you out, right? I mean, you can say you want to win all you want till you're blue in your face. But to consistently do it in a cap league and non-guaranteed contracts, and what you know, how tough it is to be a player and hang around, the shelf life for the average NFL player is not long, and you continuously have to be churning your roster and have smart football people in place to do so. And the Arizona Cardinals haven't had that. So in order to find that consistent success with the previous regime, it just wasn't possible. But you hope that, you know, in this, like when you look at the analogy with the Suns, it's like they had poor ownership for a long time, and they had a decade of futility, 10 solid years of missing the postseason and really not having any light at the end of the tunnel. And then they land on 13th overall in the draft, Devin Booker. He falls into your lap, right? And he helps change things, and people want to come and play with Devin Booker. And then they get the GM finally right? James Jones is finally making good roster moves and good rational draft picks, and he brings Chris Paul in after the bubble Suns, and it's like the Arizona Cardinals can absolutely do the same thing. Now it's gonna, you hope that this is them finding their way out of this darkness, right, with the right people in mind, and you hope Monti is that guy. We know very little about him, but the little we know, we're impressed by. And what we're hearing, the early returns on Monti Ossenfort are good. And the early returns on Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rawlis, your defensive coordinator, and Drew Petzing are good. The early insights. So you can only go based off of that. But still, you do have the person in power still that was part of all that losing before. And the people are right to ask what's different, as long as he's empowering these guys and delegating instead of meddling. I think that they do have a chance, but there's still a lot that has to be done as far as turning this organization around.
You know, I was texting with somebody recently about Michael Bidwill before yesterday and then after yesterday. And he's got a relationship with some of the new people that have come on board with the Arizona Cardinals. And he's a third party objective. He doesn't have, you know, any bias one way or the other. And, you know, he knows we cover this team on a daily basis. He just said, you know, I understand Bidwill's reputation and it's serious, but I can tell you from what I'm hearing with the guys now in charge, the operation's different. He is enabling them. Now, will that continue 6-12 months down the line? Let's say maybe they have a tough season. That could change. Michael Bidwill could be calling for one-on-one video sessions once again. He could crack the whip again. But in my opinion, right now you're seeing, at least in the short term, what needs to happen. Right. You're enabling your new people. You've got good, talented people. I put a tweet out today, and I knew it would get not ratio, but there'd be some pushback. It's just like in January, the easy move for Michael Bidwill would have been to retain Cliff Kingsbury, retain Vance Joseph, promote from within GM, right? A lot of people in the national media and the local media thought that that was going to happen. They didn't. They gutted the house. They fired everybody. They've continued to fire people that aren't necessarily included in the coaching staff. Training staff has not been saved, right? Strength and conditioning staff is being reassigned. And then he went out and he signed a bunch of external people, right? I don't know their salaries. I don't know what Ossenfort and Gannon are being paid. But what I do know is, I mean, Bidwill to me is really the only lone constant left of last year. Keim is gone. Vance is gone. Cliff is gone, right? It to me is, it's about as close of a wish list, now that you include the uniforms, as we could have hoped for. But I think what makes you feel kind of icky about it is all this extra shit is now coming into light when we thought we had turned the page on all this information. And I think I will echo the fans' comments of, I think the appropriate action, and I saw Dan Bickley put an article out at AZ Sports, I will echo this, as will Bo, is that they need to find a team president now. Michael Bidwill, I think, has lost the benefit of the doubt. And I'm some schmuck that has been saying for years, I think Michael Bidwill is a good owner. I think you can win a Super Bowl with Michael Bidwill. Check the receipts. I've said that forever. Said he wants to win. He just doesn't know how. And then I was presented with new information. Whether or not you want to believe it, it's up to you. It's just like to Bo's point yesterday, other franchises don't operate this way. Get a team president that knows football, that knows how to manage people, that can instill an environment where people feel safe and welcomed and respected when they come into work. And Michael can still own the team. But I don't think right now, and I'm sure if he were to step down as president, he'd be thinking, well, is this am I admitting fault here when I didn't do anything wrong? But there have been too many receipts over the past couple of years, and I just think they need change. But at least in, artificial change, the uniforms, I mean, people can laugh at that. People can joke about, well, it doesn't equal W's. I mean, you don't want to support a team for a lot of different reasons, but in part, if their uniforms aren't something you want to wear, if you want to rock, if you want to get excited about, you want to be able to put a uniform on as a fan, as a player, that you feel like emulates the best part of your franchise.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the players, especially when you're going to have a roster churned and you're going to start to usher in a new look roster, and it's going to mostly be comprised of guys on 1 and 2 year deals and rookies. You want to, make them at least look good and feel good, right? And to be part of what the new look Arizona Cardinals are going to be, I think there's a certain amount of excitement, and I think you can sell that a little bit to a fan base. But I understand the fan base where they even feel reluctant to celebrate this, to even celebrate what should be look like an easy victory. And I can sympathize with that, empathize with that. As far as the team president thing, I'm completely on board with you, with you and Bick and everybody that's saying that. I think that, at some point you have to look at yourself in the mirror, and you've used the word accountability multiple times throughout the years. And, this organization still can't get out of its own way. Sometimes you have to say, well, maybe as far as the day-to-day is running this organization, maybe it's just not for me. Maybe I can just be an owner and I can just sign the checks and I can go, do the Super Bowl, roundabout, 100%. Do all of that, right? And then have somebody focus on the business side of this thing and work, side by side with all the employees. But here's where it gets tricky, obviously, is the legal ramifications. And if you step down now, is that going to appear as an admission of guilt to any of the allegations 100%. And accusations that were levied against them yesterday, which would be, that's tough. So now it's the weighted out process. And, we're a daily Cardinals show, and we'll have the time to talk about, everything. But we also want to continue to talk about, the good things that we're hearing about Jonathan Gannon and Monti Ossenfort, and, what they're going to be doing in this draft, and talk to new players like Josh Woods, who was a captain for the Detroit Lions last year on special teams. And, I don't want it to completely sully that, because, it's PHNX Cardinals. This is a celebration of this organization. We'll be damned. We want to find things to root for. So, but at the same time, we're going to be frustrated with you as well. And that things aren't going well, and things, the allegations are beyond unacceptable.
And then we don't do the show for Michael Bidwill. This is not the Michael
No.
Bidwill show. This show's for Aeneas Williams and Adrian Wilson and Darnell Dockett and Calais Campbell, Larry Fitzgerald, the players that helped us fall in love with this franchise, and we will continue to carry that torch. I wanted to bring this up. So we did a mock-up of some uniforms from Reddit and a bunch of places, people super talented, Cardinal uniform mock-ups last Friday. There was one I didn't have a chance to get to, and I wanted to showcase it because it's gotten a lot of pub, and it's from our buddy Hiding Out on Twitter. And this is it right now. And again, we have no idea if the concept is even close to what the Cardinals are going to rock, but this has been getting a lot of traction. He's a supporter of ours, so I wanted to make sure I gave him his tee here because this is really sharp, Bo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these look good. I think I like the incorporation, especially on the white jersey of the flag, but maybe a little too big there. I mean, here's what we know about, or what we feel like we know about these new uniforms, right? There's going to be an emphasis on yellow, right? More of an emphasis than there was before. So,
right.
There wasn't much yellow outside of the beak. I think you might be able to see that in some font, coming down the pike. And then we know that there's not going to be much change to the white helmet and the bird logo. So those are what we're kind of operating under, is what we're going to see unveiled. But other than that, it is pretty much, you can look at all the concepts and you hope some of the ones you like that the Cardinals are going to incorporate in that. But that Cardinals, they never make anything easy. I mean, it's never just like, well, we need uniforms. Let's see what the fans are saying. Let's see some of the mock-ups and if we can take away from one of the more popular ones.
I've got a question for you. So when they unveiled the black uniforms, go back, it's like 2010-ish, when they trotted those out, 2009, 2010, the alternative black jersey. When they did that, they had players walk out in the black jersey, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie and a bunch of players.
A-Dub,
yeah. If they have players trot out in a jersey, who's it going to be? Because let me contextualize this. So people are assuming Budda Baker's pissed at the franchise, whatever. I would say Buddha's the safest. I don't know, because he's putting out tweets about Wolves or whatever. But like, you would presume Kyler's not going to be in the jersey unveiling. I mean, if he's still rehabbing, maybe he can just walk with a jersey on. I don't know. But isn't that funny? It's like, can you even get players to trot out in this jersey? Who would you pick?
I mean, I think you get Budda, right? I think you get Zaven Collins. You get Zach Ertz, who's rehabbing his knee as well. Then you get Trey McBride. There's plenty of players that you can trot out there. It's not going to be D-Hop, right? James Conner. No, it's not going to be. No, it's not going to be Ledbetter. It's not going to be guys that are friends.
It's going to be that new tackle from Tennessee that everybody hates that has like a negative PFF rating.
It's not going to be Yelda Frodeholt. It's not going to be their new, potentially starting center. It's not going to be that, but. You could get DJ Humphries out there. Yeah, Hollywood Brown, Elver, I completely agree. Hollywood was one of the first people I thought of. It's you've got more. You've got enough.
I was sitting here thinking today, I'm like, how are they going to do that? Are they going to put it on a mannequin and then just kind of, or are they going to get players to wear this? Because like, what is even in their team right now? Who's on the team? Who's available? Somebody said in the chat, no Hopkins. I agree with that. Like, we think Dennis Gardeck could be cut, but then they're trotting him out at their girls flag football camp, which is a great thing they do. It's like Gardeck's like the headliner for that. He's making a lot of money. There's just so many uncertainties with this team right now. It's wild. Can we just, what they should do, and they won't because got to be Simmons, Johnny. Yeah. Hey, Isaiah, can you come wear this? Oh, by the way, we're not picking up your 5th-year option, but here, you can keep your jersey after today. I want the new draft picks to debut with these jerseys, but I also want the jerseys before the draft, and you got to be able to hold them up with Goodell and company. So, yeah, the Band-Aid's getting ripped off here. I mean, today is Wednesday, April 5th. I would say over under, Bo Brock, we get it before the 20th. So that's a week before the draft. Over under.
I would say that's ballpark. That's right about. I would say that's a push. Give it to me. Yeah, I think a week before. A week before. Yeah. That's perfect. I think we are going to get a heads up. It's obviously going to be an event. You would think that they're going to.
Do you risk doing an event right now? Maybe just do a tweet and then get a behind the scenes photo shoot or something. Do you want? I guess maybe fans will be cool with what's going down. You want to do an event right now? You think they want to do an event?
You got to have. Yeah, I mean it'd be tough with Bidwill and probably his
I don't think Michael's going to be a part of it.
Yeah, and it's like when you ask Monti at the combine, it's like it's not new uniforms is not his department. I mean, Gannon could MC anything. I mean, he's kind of an electric factory.
You almost kind of need him to.
Yeah,
you almost need Jonathan Gannon to come out there pumping up the new uniforms with like his OC and his DC, because I mean, like hopefully Bidwill kind of can read the room a little bit.
They could get Danny from the media team over there. She does a lot of video and
Blake Shelton, maybe have Blake Shelton come out and do it.
I don't know, Blake. Is Blake Shelton, is he a fan in this team still that his boy's gone?
Oh,
that's a good question.
The unveiling and how they choose to do it is almost now more enticing to break down than the uniform itself, given everything that's going on with Mr. B over the last couple of days. I mean, nothing's out of the realm of possibility, but yeah, who's going to MC the uniform unveiling for the Arizona Cardinals? Put your guess in the chat, like this video, because I think it should be
there's
JG.
Bidwill. Hey, we're excited about these new uniforms. Hey, Mike, what are your comments on the harassment allegations and the discrimination allegations and cheating? Huh? It's like, no, look, here's our red jersey. Mike, did you yell at employees?
No way. You got to get out. You got to get out of sight, See, this is where like you could get Fitz to come back and screw around or somebody like that to say, hey, who's a really good person on the microphone that's an ex-player? Do they have any of those? That's where you need something like an ambassador.
Roll our boy Frank Sanders out there.
Oh my God, Frank would be great. Could you imagine Frank emceeing the event? He'd be fantastic. Frank could also probably play for slot receiver for this team right now. Still, we're gonna talk to Josh Woods, linebacker for this team, here in a little bit. But first, I want to tell you guys about our friends at BetMGM Sportsbook. So, you've heard the news. BetMGM Sportsbook, your official home of PHNX Cardinals, come this fall. But I can tell you right now, why wait for this fall to get in with BetMGM Sportsbook? Right now, use bonus code PHNX. You're going to get up to 200 in bonus bets on your first wager at BetMGM. Super simple. Here's how it works. All you got to do, download the BetMGM app, signing up with your bonus code, of course, PHNX. Place a pregame moneyline wager in the amount. You got to do at least 10 bones on any market at standard odds price. And again, you got NBA to look at, you got NHL, and you're going to receive 200 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of the outcome of your wager. So you could lose, you could dabble on the Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA, but you got to put 10 bones down, and you got to use bonus code PHNX when you sign up. And right now you get to listen to my very good friend Shane Diefenbach talk about this disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
You got plans April 27th? Break them, clear them, drop them, because your plans are now with us. Yeah, that's right. It's the official PHNX Cardinals draft party over at Four Peaks, 8th Street in Tempe. You're going to have a blast because we have so many things that you're not going to want to miss out on, including the live coverage, all first round of the NFL draft. You know, who the Arizona Cardinals going to pick? Are they going to stick and pick at 3rd overall? Or are they going to take Will Anderson, who's now an overwhelming betting favorite to be the 3rd overall pick? Are they going to trade out? Are they going to be picking 4th? Are they going to be in the top 10? Are they going to have multiple picks? We don't know as of right now, but we do know that Thursday, April 27th at Four Peaks, you need to be there. Drink specials, loaded food menu. Go get those chicken rolls. They're unbelievable. Go get yourself that garlic cheese beer bread. Get everything that you know and love at Four Peaks. Stuff your face, drink down great beers, and watch the NFL drafts. Hang out with Johnny, myself, the entire PHNX crew at our NFL draft party. You don't want to miss it. Guess how much this costs? How much would you pay to go to this event, Johnny?
To hang with you and I?
Yeah.
$1,000, at least $1,500.
Yeah, at least maybe.
Yeah.
1,200. Producer Jacob, let me see. Maybe.
Yeah.
What do you got? Come
Maybe
on, man. Let's
maybe like
go.
I get to hang out with you guys every day.
Yeah.
So
You
it's
charge
worth
Jake,
about
doesn't-
it's worth
doesn't
about
know
$3
that.
million for
Okay,
me.
so 3 million.
nice.
I was gonna say 5 million, but look, it's free. It's free. It's not gonna cost you a dime. It's gonna be. You can't find any better free entertainment than this. Join us April 27th at Four Peaks. You can indulge on any of their great beers, including their bourbon barrel selection, which is unreal. They invested in all these bourbon barrels from Kentucky, where like bourbon it's like the birthplace of bourbon, or they perfected it in Kentucky. And they went and they got some bourbon barrels and they aged their beer that they brew on location. And it's so amazingly smooth. You got to check it out. Like the Raj bourbon barrel, it goes so crazy. And also, if you don't like Raj IPA, they got the hazy IPA. They got everything that you want if you're a beer drinker. They got the Wow Wheat, the #1 wheat in Arizona. Join us April 27th, Four Peaks. In the meantime, go watch the Suns game there. Go watch the end of the Coyote season. I know the Coyotes, they've got their their season wrap up there next week. So you got an event there. Check out all the events, fourpeaks.com/events. Got to be 21 years or older to enjoy the beer, but you don't have to be 21 years or older to enjoy the great food and vibes.
Han shot first. I signed up, fellas. Get to meet both of you in person. So excited to meet you. Han shot first. Round of 4 Peaks on me. Hell yeah, brother. Looking forward to it. That's awesome.
Next round's on me then, Han.
That's right. On Bo for the rest of the night. And then I chatted with a guy, Brian, who's a friend of the show. He's bringing a bunch of people. I can't encourage you guys enough. You probably hear a bunch of times from other, media companies, third-party affiliates. Come out and hang with us. Bo and I genuinely want to hang out with this community that you guys have made. You guys have made this community what it is, and we want to get to know all of you. Four Peaks, it's free. We asked for it to be located there. Hopefully, it's centrally located enough for people to come out if you're in the Valley. We didn't want it to cost a dime because we're excited. I mean, we're going to broadcast the first round, but hopefully we can get some of our friends to come out. We're trying to work behind the scenes, see if we can get some peeps that you guys know and appreciate that you can come out. All I ask is before you come out, sign up with the link on my Twitter, on Bo's Twitter, on PHNX Cardinals, so we can get a head count, so we can tell the fine folks at Four Peaks, hey, we need a bunch of space. But we're fired up about that. We're also fired up about the draft itself and the prospect, the likelihood, Brack, that the Arizona Cardinals are going to trade down and get more picks. They were recently rumored via Daniel Jeremiah to trade down to pick 11. And we thought, okay, well, maybe it's a good time for us using the PFF mock draft simulator to see what kind of package the Arizona Cardinals could get from Tennessee and how the draft would go from there. So with that being said, we've delayed it a couple days because, I don't know, other shit's been going on. I'm going to present my screen here, and we're going to dabble with the PFF Mock Draft Simulator 2.0 here on PHNX Cardinals. Don't worry, I've cleared my history, and I'm ready to rock and roll here for the show. I'm picking the Cardinals. We're going how many rounds? We're going all 7 rounds here.
That's right.
And we're going to enter this bad boy. You guys haven't used this. It's a lot of fun. And we're going to start this puppy. So the Cardinals are on the clock. Bryce Young, Brack, CJ Stroud, back to back. And we're going to trade. And we're going to do a little trade with our friends, the Tennessee Titans. Bo, so on the surface, what are you thinking?
You absolutely need 11 this year. Probably 41. Definitely throwing that 2024 first.
Look at that. They're ready. They want to give us more.
Yeah, let's start. Let's continue to take from them. You already got the second rounder in there from next year. And okay, so that's off the board. They don't like that.
But I would say this: there's a better chance that we get 72 than their second next year. How about their third? So, a 1, a 2, and 2 3s.
I don't think they're going to go for this one. But look, I mean, so they have 6 picks this year. So if you get their first, second, and third, you're going to put down half. You're taking half their picks this season. So they're going in for Anthony Richardson. I know you don't, and I'm just trying to think. Would the Titans jump at this? Let's see if they'll go for this. The confidence meter is not high. They rejected it.
We've had declined. Okay, so
take off the third this year. I think that's the.
No, I want this pick.
I know you want it, but
this third is only worth a 4th this year.
Okay.
So I'm gonna drop this down. You get a 4 and a 1 next year, or shit, man, this is worth it for the long haul. Let's bump that third to 2025. I'm not moving off 72, 41, and 11.
Okay.
I feel like that has to be part of the equation here.
All right.
Can we try this one?
Go for it. The worst they say is no. Yeah.
Oh God, they're saying no a lot. Monty, what's going on
This
here?
is
Get
this is
team
Johnny at Scottsdale Bars in college. He's just getting shut down.
I'm not from here. That would be me, definitely.
Take
Ooh, like this
72
12-year-old
off
in
and
here.
then put the round 3 back on for next year. And let's get this thing going.
That's not enough. That's not enough. How about that right there?
Yeah.
How about this? How about
You're
this right here? How about that?
They're not going to go for it. You just put, so you've got both first and second rounders.
Oh, look,
okay, I told you they were going to go for it. And Rand Carthon,
a lot of
Rand Carthon, first year GM with the Titans. All right, we have a trade accepted here. So what do we get in return here, Johnny, before we get things going?
Yeah, for our audio listeners, I apologize. So Titans are getting 3. They're getting Anthony Richardson. The Cardinals are getting 11. They're getting 41. And then they're getting a 1 and a 2 next year. So again, I would say if the Tennessee Titans aren't very good, that looks pretty good next year. So not my preferred package. I would want more, but for the sake
the only
of
thing I would say is like the AFC South, like they could be a team that sneaks into the postseason.
No doubt. That's why they're not my preferred trade candidate unless they give up more. But for the sake of this exercise, that's all we're getting. What are we getting at pick 11, Bo Brack?
All right, so
see here.
We got some options here. Devin Witherspoon, I think, is the easy answer here. He's a top 10 pick. They've got him ranked 7th overall player. You've already got some big-time players off the board. The only other guy I would probably consider in this situation is Cansey out of Pittsburgh, the defensive lineman, but he's a little bit undersized, much like another former defensive lineman from Pittsburgh, Aaron Donald, but he doesn't like to assault people on the field like Donald does. Let's go with Devin Witherspoon. We know the Cardinals have talked to him. He's a physical, instinctual cornerback.
The Illini, the first pick of the Ossenfort era, is a kid out of Illinois. Who would have thought? We're at pick 34 right now. We went defense, but we didn't go front 7, Bo Brack, which makes me feel like, do you force a front 7 pick here, or do you go BPA? I'm tempted to go BPA. I think the best value pick here clearly is Anton Harrison, the tackle from Oklahoma. Cardinals are working out a bunch of tackles. I'm not convinced they've worked out with Anton Harrison. They've worked out a lot of tackles that are going to be mid to late firsts. Yeah. So maybe they're hedging their bet that somebody's going to fall. I'm not forcing an edge pick here. I'm going BPA. This is a cornerstone position, just like defensive line, cornerback, edge rusher. Anton Harrison is going to be my pick at 34, Bo.
I like. Oh, wow. You just pulled the trigger on that one.
Yeah.
Well, you pick 7. When I think about this, I was with the chat mostly picking spreads and Hanshot first. I like BJ Ojulari out of LSU. Thought he would have been a nice compliment. Get some pass rush to couple with the back end that you just got in the first round. But, fuck what I think, Johnny. All right. So I'm on the board. We're still in the second round, correct? We've got the Titans second round pick. Yeah. Manuel Forbes, you got the corner out of Mississippi State. Address that. You're looking at your defensive second. You got Marco Wilson now. You've got Devin Witherspoon. So now we can start to look at you. You went tackle, so we probably want to address the defensive line or the pass rush.
No, I think you
want Steve Avila. Okay, I don't have an issue with that.
I think you go where this draft takes you. You got a first and a second next year. You're not forcing picks. I love this kid too. This kid out of Wisconsin. He doesn't even have the logo for the school. He's got his face.
Look at that guy.
I'd love to see that.
He hasn't seen a razor or scissors for at least 3 years.
Steve Avila, to me, somebody they've worked out. We know they love him. We know they love Whippler as well. One of these two guys is the pick.
But go back up. Just it's my pick, for God's sake. Let me look at who's on the board here. Yeah. I don't see anybody on the D line.
Somebody needs to talk to PFF about their infatuation with Tanner McKee.
Yeah, it is a little embarrassing. All right, scroll back down. I think Avila is probably the pick here.
God. This whole line is just gonna murder people. And for the first time in this franchise's history, you're gonna be able to exit this draft and you're like, shit, man, our whole line looks pretty good.
Picking spreads is good. He's passed out. He's passing out on the floor currently. He can't believe we passed on the edge. The front 7 remains not a strength of this organization. All right, back on the clock. Which pick is this? 66th overall, so we're in the 3rd round.
Yeah. Nick Herbig is the best pass rusher left from Wisconsin. Let's get a quick synopsis on him. If we have to force an edge pick, kid out of Wisconsin, he did bad things to my alma mater, Illinois State. But look what he did against Iowa. almost a 90 rating against Iowa. I mean, listen, 6'2", 240. He's undersized, second or third round.
I don't think he fits the scheme at all. Let's pass on this kid. All right, will you put an edge in the position so we can take a look at the crew we're dealing with?
I have a feeling this draft is not going to be as good as our first, just based on the grades.
Yeah.
Here's your boy right here. He keeps falling here.
Who, KJ Henry? I think he's somebody we can hold on, wait until about the fourth round. KJ Henry, the edge at a Clemson, more of a 4-3 guy. What about interior defensive lineman?
That's a good call. So I would say D tackle. Where's D tackle? Right here. D tackle. Kid out of Wake Forest, Kobe Turner. Pickens from South Carolina, although South Carolina's defense wasn't that great. I mean, again, for a team that's rebuilding, you'd be hard pressed to not go BPA at valuable positions. I would say, man, that it's looking rough right now. Would you be tempted to look at running back here?
Yeah. Who do we have?
Let's pull up the backs, and I know everybody's gonna freak out, but I mean, Dwayne McBride.
It's a lot of guys you can get. If you wait, I think that you'll be rewarded.
You'll be in good shape. What do we do? All right, everybody in the chat, you guys get to make this pick. Pick 66. The consensus. What do you guys want?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing another corner. It seems to be a position of strength at this point in the draft.
You want to double down on TCU?
Michael Wilson, the wide receiver, he's over 6 feet. You know, you got a former Stanford receiver as your receivers coach. You got DJ Turner, corner out of Michigan, and then you got Garrett Williams, corner out of Q's.
Yeah, these are undersized corners. Man, we're in a tough spot. Do we need to trade down, or are we just gonna sit here?
I don't think we need more picks if we can't make a pick in the third round.
What about this guy right here?
Does not want Johnny drafting.
Yeah, they don't want you.
All right, okay, guys. I gotta make chicken shit here with what I got going on. All right, what do you want, Bo? You make the call.
All right, let's go with the edge out of Army, Andre Carter II. I wasn't too impressed with what I saw from him in Mobile, but look, if you can start
that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Listen, corners got pushed down. I mean, this is a value pick right now. He can only play underneath slot corner. You don't really have a slot corner right now. If you've got Marco Wilson and the kid out of Iowa, I think this is an easy choice.
So Hodges Tompkins, you got him.
And now it's like, okay, what do we do here? A little running back action, Bo Brack?
I know they talked. Kendra Miller is a guy that's come up a lot out of TCU. The Cardinals have talked to him. Be a good compliment to James Conner.
Bingo.
You're just such a quick trigger on this one.
I'm not. Well, we lobbied for that. That first, the third round pick. That was brutal. We got a slap on the wrist from Goodell. We took so long. All right, 168. I think now you got to look at BPA defensive line. Do you not?
Yeah. So we got a Hilltopper. We got Broderick Martin in there.
Yeah.
Jared Clark, who seems to always be available. DJ Dale from Bama's down the line there. What did my edge from Clemson, KJ Henry, end up getting taken?
He's got to be gone. I mean, we can check. Let's check at best edge options here. Yeah, you're looking at a kid from San Jose State. With all due respect, not my cup of tea. Anybody see Nebraska's defense this year? Good Lord. I think we forced a defensive line pick. Let's look at Broderick Martin. Can he play the 3 technique? I'm not going to act like I know a ton about this kid. Let's look at what he did against some Power 5 schools. Not terrible against Indiana. Let's see how big he is. 6'5", 330. Let's make him an Arizona Cardinal. Yeah.
Welcome, Broderick.
Welcome, Broderick. Welcome, friend. All right. Cardinals on the clock again. This is the third pick of the 6th round, Bo Brack.
Yeah. So the Cardinals have been talking a ton of offensive tackles. Let's see if any of those guys are on the board. Always add depth to the offensive line. Something we haven't talked about a ton, but absolutely something.
Tackle earlier, though, in the 1st round.
I know, but look, it's just like pitching in baseball. You can never have enough of it. But I'm not seeing anybody that they've been showing interest in.
You want to go? I mean, listen, they've also talked to a lot of linebackers.
Yeah.
Is there a linebacker that sticks out? You like their college production? I think they've talked to Miller out of Florida. I'm fairly certain they worked this kid out. So he's going to be the pick in the 6th round. and he could be potentially the heir
You're just
apparent.
going rogue sometimes. Johnny
No,
just
I'm
goes
trying to
rogue
connect
in our
the
mock
dots.
drafts,
I'm
and
connecting the
I
dots for the
apologize for
people.
everybody.
All right. Smart ass. You picked this last pick. This is pick 36.
Don't we have a 7th
round.
rounder? Can you check to see if we got a 7th rounder?
I don't remember. I don't think so. We don't have a 7th rounder. I'm looking at it
the only
right now.
remaining pick you have is 213.
Okay, thank God. Johnny can't make any more rogue picks.
Uh-oh, here's your boy right here. You know what's happening.
Oh, man. Stetson Bennett, could he step in and sling it around for the Cardinals with Kyler Murray on the mend?
You mentioned downtown Scottsdale. Keep him away from downtown Scottsdale.
Look, he's got 2 rings.
Can we put him out in the West Valley, just somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, and just get him a 1-bedroom condo somewhere? If he's on the team, he can't be allowed to live in the East Valley.
Let's do it. Let's pull the trigger on this.
Okay.
Stetson, you are an Arizona Cardinal. League him right now, and there he is.
How do you think this draft's going to grade out? I think I think it's going to do well because we got future picks. Typically,
I just feel like when the lights get brighter, you're just like a beach chair. You just fold.
No,
you just start hitting. You just start clicking buttons.
We got an all-pro potential corner, tackle, and guard. Look at that. Yes, thank you, PFF. A. It's the opposite of the Cardinals NFLPA scorecard. Yes. Call me, Monty. I'm ready to make deals. Listen,
Beautiful.
I wanted defensive linemen and D tackles just as much as you did, but you got to go where the draft takes you.
Yeah, I mean that might be a lesson to be learned. I mean, it's not deep at as far as the interior of the defensive line. And
no, it's not. That's why Jalen Carter, that's such a difficult reality to cope with, because that felt like a player. It's like checking a huge box for the Cardinals. And since we've removed that, it's like you really kind of have to force a pick at 34. Otherwise, you're taking another shot at guys like Lecky Fotu, Rashad Lawrence-esque, where you don't really know. Maybe you could hit on one, but there's no plug and play. But that was fun. That was our mock draft 2.0 with our friends at PFF. And I mean,
it's time for a Circle K break, my friends.
It is. It's time to talk about Circle K. We're so excited and fired up to be partnered with them because, again, you think of convenience, you think it at a non-premium price. It's our friends at Circle K. They've got so much good stuff going on right now. Polar Pops, iced coffee, 12 packs of Four Peaks beer, Red Bull, Monster energy drinks. Right now, Circle K is where you need to be for your premium snack and gas selection. Hot damn. Make sure you're not missing out on all the great stuff they're doing. This company may or may not have just had a fun little photo shoot with Circle K. So PHNX Circle K is synonymous with the Valley, convenience, good times, hanging out. Circle K is where I go here in the Copa to stock up on my goodies. Always clean. You're on the road. You got to use the restroom at some point. Circle K is where you want to be. Make sure you check out the circlek.com/store locator. That's circlek.com/store locator to find a Circle K boat nearest to you.
I need to tell you about what's on my face right now. Some Shady Rays. These things are unreal. Just got them today from Shady Rays. These are comfortable. They're solid. They're well put together. They're way better than the, I guess, the brand that you pay a lot more for that I have now in my car that will probably just collect dust now that I've got Shady Rays. You need to take on the sun with gear built to last, just like me. Friends over at Shady Rays have you covered with some warm weather ahead. This is like the last day in the 70s. You got to bid farewell to spring because summer's like next week here in Arizona. So make sure you're taking care of your eyes with some Shady Rays premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Independent sunglasses company, world-class product. These really, I was surprised at how well these are put together. I love the Shady Rays. Can't wait to get some more use out of them. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection from all the eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. You want to check this out. You got to do it exclusively for our listeners. We've got a great offer. Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com right now and use the code PHNX for 50% off 2 pairs, not 1, but 2 pairs of their polarized sunglasses. You can try for yourself. Shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. 250,000 people have tried these and they've rated them 5 stars. It's unreal. If they had a 6 star, they'd probably rate it 6 stars, but they only have 5. and Shady Rays is worth it. Check it out for yourself. Take advantage of this deal. Get your 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses for 50% off by using the promo code PHNX when you go to shadyrays.com.
I do not appreciate all the mud that was slinging on me during that mock draft. You know, I'm running the mock draft. I'm sharing my screen. No big deal. I can't see the comments. I'm looking at this F-. WTF, Johnny. I'm sorry, guys. I just, to me, it's like everybody just prepare. Like, as you know, a lot of people with this franchise said, can't fill every need in a singular offseason. When you need everything, wouldn't it make more sense to go BPA?
And don't forget, like at the top of that draft, trading from 3 to 11 with the Tennessee Titans. You know, it changes the caliber of player you get up front. We were still able to land a guy like Weatherspoon, which was solid,
top 10 talent. Yeah,
right. But you know, you got to take in consideration you've got that first next year as well, 2024, and then what do we end up swindling for? A third,
a second.
A
No,
second.
we got their second next year.
Yeah.
I mean, those could be 2 premium picks. Those are 2 future starters. And I want as many picks this year as possible because I want to fill needs and I want to see players this fall rocking the bird on the helmet. But I also am of the mindset, more picks next year gives you flexibility. And, you know, I think that, yes, the defensive line is the worst position group on the team and maybe in the NFL. But I also think about, this is an offensive league. You got a defensive head coach. Let's see Jonathan Gannon take some mid to late round picks and some undrafted guys in that front 7 and turn them into ass kickers. Whereas I've never seen this franchise successfully develop and prioritize early offensive linemen. So when I have a quarterback coming back from a torn ACL, I'm not going to hesitate taking a first round caliber tackle at 34 and what I think is a first round caliber guard in the 40s. I mean, I'm not going to blink to do that, Bo. I'm going to feel good about that. That's not me taking undersized Andy Isabella from UMass. That's not me taking, Chad Williams, converted corner, wide receiver. I'm taking plug and play offensive linemen and let them come in and get their reps in and take their licks. And by the time Kyler Murray comes back, hopefully they're a little bit polished and that unit is on the rise into year 2. But you can't force the pick. But what you can do is, if we're taking from the basics of premium positions for this franchise, it's corner, it's offensive line. I would say tackle, but I would say the entire offensive line right now. It's quarterback, it's pass rusher, and it's defensive tackle. So edge and defensive tackle. That's the big 5 right now. And some teams would include wideout. I don't think the Cardinals have the luxury of including wideout right now. And they already have the quarterback. So go and look at that draft again and say, well, they checked off corner a couple times. They've begun to chip away at the offensive line. I mean, like you could get a first round defensive tackle next year. You can get a first round edge rusher next year. Plus, I also, it bears repeating. Free agency every year gives you defensive linemen. Now, they might be a little older. You might have to pay a $30 million or 30-year-old Javon Hargraves, but they're available, right? Cardinals just chose not to participate this year. There very rarely are premium offensive linemen in their early to mid 20s that are just available for teams to sign. Usually you got to swindle and swing 2 1s or 2 2s to get somebody of note. Remember what Larry Tunsil went. So you can supplement and build a good defensive line group through free agency if you're bright enough. Now, Keim could never do that, but this team needs to prioritize offensive line. So I have no problem with the players I chose.
I mean, what do people pound the table for every game? It feels like when you watch Kyler Murray drop back and run for his life and have to scramble out of the pocket and make plays. It's like you need to protect Kyler Murray. You need to protect your main asset. And you trade for multiple picks. You trade down. You get a starting caliber corner. And then in the second round, you get a franchise caliber tackle from Oklahoma who is in the first round. And then you take the guard that everybody's like, people are telling me in my mentions today, it's crazy to think about Avila in the second round. I mean, people are falling in love with this kid from
late
TC.
20s. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you got Osiris Torrance out of Florida and you got Avila out of TCU. And that's what people are falling in love with, the game tape and the prospects. So if you had a chance to kind of solidify the future of your offensive line with a tackle and a starting caliber guard, sure, you need to get a center, absolutely. But to get 2 of the 5 in the same round, with that potential, obviously, you don't know how these players are going to, what they're going to turn into and develop into, but they give you the opportunity down the road. I don't know why people all of a sudden are like, oh, well, what are we doing taking 2 offensive linemen, when every Sunday they're like, why don't we invest in the offensive line?
You guys remember what the O-line looked like at the end of last year and the year before and the year before? They've gone out and tried to build it through free agency. I mean, Beecham was a free agent signing, and Will Hernandez and Justin Pugh, right? How many centers have they tried? Maybe be a franchise that's known for drafting and developing offensive linemen. And I'm going to take the same philosophy to this draft as I am to these uniforms. It's going to be hard to fuck this up. If they prioritize, the positions of note that they've said they're going to prioritize, which is not undersized receivers and off-ball linebackers, they're going to prioritize the key positions. I mean, you can go a lot of different ways and be able to sit back and say, you had a hell of a load that you came out of draft weekend with. Same with these uniforms. In a lot of ways, there's nowhere to go but up. And so whether it's one of the corners, Gonzalez or Witherspoon, or whether it's one of the highly rated tackles or an edge rusher like Will Anderson, I'm not a big Tyree Wilson fan, but we'll see. Like, there are options for them. Come and get more picks, stick and pick, which I don't think they're going to do. And then in the second round, it's like they're going to be able to sit atop round 2 and go BPA at a position that, number one, that player was probably mocked to a lot of people as a first-round talent, and you're going to get him at pick 34. You're going to feel good about that. So I'm fired up, man. I feel like we're now entrenched in draft season. There was a bite, I don't know if you saw this the other day, about Tyree Wilson from one of the guys at PFF. I don't remember who it was, so I can't.
Yeah, it was Sam Monson.
Sam Monson came out and basically he's churned a bunch of Tyree Wilson tape and data, and basically said, like, I just can't. There isn't a precedent for Tyree Wilson to be able to come into the NFL and be a good player and worth the draft pick in which you're going to have to invest in him. And he said that based off of production and injury and a bunch of other variables. And PFF is not the end all be all. We respect what they do.
Yeah.
That's got to concern you a little bit if you're a Cardinal fan. Now, when we were in Indianapolis, Bo, I mean, it was very much they're in on Tyree Wilson. A lot can change in 2 months, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's a type of prospect that you can get lost in, just looking at the size, the wingspan. He's close to 6'7", and what he projects to be, if he taps into any potential, he's going to be a dog out there on Sundays. But there's a lot that has to go into it. I mean, he played with the same skill set and size in the Big 12, and as far as his production goes, it was 7.5 sacks. Is that going to be enough? Is Gannon going to want to get enough from that type of player? Is it going to be like the early Calais Campbell where we kept on seeing, like, man, we see this beast out there. We know he's putting in the work. We know he's a good teammate, but at the end of the year, you're seeing 7.5 sacks. You're seeing under double-digit sack returns. I know he did more than the box score, but when you see guys who can be ultra productive out there and guys that have done it at the highest level that they've played at, in the SEC, D1, Power 5 schools, it's tough to just kind of it's tough to, especially with the current state of the organization, to get a fan base to buy in on that.
Yeah, here was the comments from Sam Monson on Twitter following PFF_Sam. It's very difficult to come up with any data-driven historical comp where Tyree Wilson becomes a good NFL player. Taking him, this was projected after Lance Zierlein's mock draft where the Texans took him at 2. He said would be one of the biggest gambles you could make, in my opinion. He said that they've used the model of Tyree Wilson compared to Trayvon Walker's athletic profile. So they've compared the two. Walker, of course, went first overall last year out of Georgia to Jacksonville. And Sam says he still isn't in that category and that percentile where he's a good bet to be a plus NFL player. So I'm with you. I mean, it just, for this regime that, yes, you want to hit home runs in the first round, the top 10, but you can't strike out either. I mean, your floor as a player has to be immense. Now, you can get in trouble with floors. Solomon Thomas had a high floor. He busted, right? Cleveland Farrell had a high floor for the Raiders.
Yeah.
He busted, right? So, I mean, it looks like a terrible pick if he just turns into just a guy, if he's a rotational player. And I think with Tyree Wilson, he is the ultimate boomer bust. Like, I don't think we're going to have an in-between. I think he's either going to be, a generational kind of pass rusher with the length and everything clicks together and you finally get him, with all due respect to Texas Tech, with some capable NFL people and they unlock what he had, or he's just somebody that at the end of the day is what his production was in the Big 12, where you have 7 sacks and he's a little bit injury prone, Bo Brock.
Absolutely. We're talking about a guy who's already been in the league for multiple years. He just signed a contract with the Arizona Cardinals this offseason, coming in, going to join their linebacking core and their special teams. Josh Woods joins us here on PHNX Cardinals. Josh, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you? Can you hear me well?
Absolutely. You sound great.
What's up, guys?
We're fired up to have you in the desert. Listen, Cardinals, we know, are putting a priority on character. The player has to be great, but the character has to be immense. So my first question to you, Josh, is what drew you to the desert? What made you connect the dots to say after Detroit, this is where you wanted to be?
Well, anybody that's known me from pre-draft, they've always known, like, where do you want to go? Like asking, where would you like to play? Where's your dream place to play? And I'm like, I don't care. Just give me somewhere warm. So God has a sense of humor. The only 2 places I've been are Chicago for 4 years and Detroit. Yeah. So I came out of the season like, yo, Detroit's fine. Would love to go back, but please, dear God, bring me something warmer. Once I realized that, things weren't, we weren't going to come to an agreement in Detroit and Arizona was on the table, I was like, well, Sears knows the kind of guy I am. He knows what I can bring to the table. Like, I think that would be a really good next stop. And here we are. They felt the same way after, just back and forth with my agent. And he was telling me everything with, hey, I think they're, they really value you, not just, want you to sign because, you're a productive player.
Dave Sears, you mentioned the assistant general manager now under new general manager, Monti Ossenfort, was there in Detroit. Like, was he a guy that's like, you got to come with me, right? Was he somebody that was pounding the table to get Josh Woods to the desert?
I mean, I think that's how it happened, but it wasn't like, I'm pretty sure he's not allowed to do that. But 2, Dave's really a behind the scenes guy, like, there's so many people involved in the organization that you don't know. You walk past them every day, you don't, whatever. So, I've heard the name, I've obviously seen the face, but when I got to Arizona, I finally, okay, this is Dave Sears. So, I obviously my agent was in contact with him, and so I know what role. I know that he did play a role in me coming from Detroit to Arizona. So I just made sure I thanked him when I met him last week.
No doubt. So Josh, you were part of a culture change in Detroit that we all got to see come to fruition with that win at Lambeau Field at the end of last year. And I don't think any Cardinal fan would be shy in saying Cardinals are in that same position I think Detroit was 2 years ago, where Dan Campbell has to step in and get the right people in-house to kind of flip this thing on the head to get back to a winning culture. What did you see from Dan Campbell as a coach? And do you see some parallels in terms of a leader of men now with your new head coach in Jonathan Gannon?
I think Dan did a really good job of, well, first of all, you guys have seen the speeches, you've seen the post-game interviews. Like, he did a really good job of being dependable and accountable and gaining the trust of the guys. And, that's a really big thing when it comes to like buying into a program, to a system, right? Because if the players don't buy in, you don't have it, right? The coaches can put whatever pieces in place, but if the players aren't going to go ahead and execute or buy in and kind of self-govern. And I think that was another big thing too. They were really, because they were all former players, they knew what it took to really gel together as a team. They knew what it took to, stay together when things aren't rocky. But most importantly, they gave it to us. Like, hey, this is the scheme, but like, is this working for you guys? Or, if something wasn't up to our standard on defense, like, yeah, coaches might MF, but like, it was really up to the players. You know what I mean? They might say it once, but they're not going to harp on it. Like, they left it up to us for if we saw it again or this or that. So that turnaround was, I'm not taking anything away from what Dan did. Like, he gave the players the platform to make that turnaround. But I think the biggest thing that he did was kind of took that step back and allowed the players to, start not running the show, but you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
In your early interactions so far with your new coach, Jonathan Gannon, we've had some interactions with him. The guy's electric, right? He brings the energy. Maybe you should cut back to maybe some decaf on maybe later in the day, but certainly early in the day is fine. What have your early interactions been with your new head coach, your new DC? He's 29 years old, Nick Rawlis. What have you heard from these guys so far?
So Coach Gannon wasn't in the building when I went to Arizona. I think he was there at the the annual owners meeting?
Yeah, the annual meeting.
So he reached out a couple days ago just to let me know, like, hey, I'm sorry I missed you. See you next week. So wasn't really tripping about not meeting him. I got a chance to talk on the phone with both my position coach, Sam Seifkes, and Nick Rawlis, the DC. High energy guys doesn't scare me at all. That's really what that's what I need as well. But guys they're excited. They're excited for me. They're excited for the team. Like, just for guys to get in the building. What I've been hearing about, like, they just ripping energy drinks, working out, screaming around the building. Like, that's my type of environment. So that's my type of folks. So I'm excited. I'm definitely excited to get out there. Nick's been just talking about, his philosophy and a lot of the same things I was just talking about Dan, like Dan and AG and all those guys over in Detroit, where he's okay with, you asking certain questions, figuring stuff out so it works per player, not just, one overall scheme, my way or the highway. So I think that was a big thing that Nick was talking about, how he wants to run the defense.
You're in a position group with some pretty interesting names to Cardinal fans. Zaven Collins, Isaiah Simmons, both first-round picks. Have you been talked about having an opportunity to play more on defense? We know you're a special teams ace. Is that going to be your mindset of, okay, if we're transitioning to this 4-3 defense under Jonathan Gannon, there's some positions up for grabs. There's playing time to be had with a new coaching staff.
Right. And that's not really up to me. I go into every year, thinking that this is going to be the year that I get to finally scratch the surface, break out of the ST box. So I'm attacking this year just like every other year. Obviously, there's a lot more opportunity in front of me. So, just salivating at that opportunity, but it doesn't really change how I work,
Right.
I don't tailor my offseason or my training based on special teams or linebacker opportunity. So I'm for sure coming in there to take a job. And, the dominoes will fall where they do. I'll give it to God, and, but I'm pretty sure I'm coming in there to finally, like, kick down the door to playing linebacker, not just a reserve, special teams guy.
You got to love that mentality. But, special teams, you made your name in this league playing teams. And we hear it all the time, right? You see guys who are trying to make rosters as well. They got to play teams. They've got to excel on special teams. But what separates, the good special teamers to great special teamers like yourself? What is it? What's the difference? Can you kind of define it?
I tell guys all the time, special teams is really just effort and want to. And then, what kind of separates, that already is a separation, right? Like, it's guys that have super high motors that they want to go down. You can tell guys that just want to go to, that's my tackle, and I used to break it down. I used to break down the huddle and everything, like, meet me at the ball, or beat me to the ball, because I'm going to be there, so that's really that's a huge thing, so if any young guys are listening, or, anybody wants to figure out, like, how to be great on special teams, want to. Right, because half the guys are in there, they've been the stars of their team. They've never had to kickoff return. What do you mean frontline block? Like, like that is, it's an ugly job. It's an ugly job, and in many ways, a thankless job. But I say all that to say, like, that's not it. Like, I feel as though my football IQ, just in terms of how the kicking game goes, like, definitely sets me, gives me a little bit of an edge on guys. And, being sick, I guess, going into my 6th year, I've learned, little tricks to the trade just from other guys and playing. And, on punt, if I'm going in, if, like, I know a guy's coming to, like, just bear rush me to hold me up. And when he comes to throw his hands, knock his hands down. He's going to lunge forward, and I'm out of there. Now I can go make the tackle scot-free. That gives me a second and a half on my guard or my slot so I can go down there and make the tackle. Just really simple, like little tricks, like if I torque him right here, he's going to, just small stuff that you just learn from experience and talking to guys and being a sponge. But I feel like a lot of guys coming to the league, well, I won't say a lot of guys, but guys coming to the league thinking they have it figured out. Like they're so in competition with other guys that they aren't really picking up tricks of the trade from, so.
Love that answer. Let me ask you this, and a not so serious question. We led the show with it. New reports out. You and your teammates are getting new uniforms this coming year for the first time since almost 2 decades. Have you heard anything? Can you tell us anything?
I can't tell you a daggone thing. I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. We're fired up about it. We've been banging that drum. Look good, play good, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay.
I think it'll bring some juice to the squad for sure, whatever they come up with.
Cool.
You come from some teams that have some classic uniforms. I mean, the electric blue in the Motor City in Detroit and then Chicago. I mean, tough to beat those. So, I mean, you got to keep up your tradition of playing on teams with good uniforms.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I hope they cannot ruin the streak because Chicago's throwbacks are crazy with the stripes. Detroit's, they're just nasty. I love the gray, like the alternate grays that we wear.
Oh, yeah.
Those are nasty. Yeah. No, we got to come with some heat.
Hell yeah. My last question, you got settled yet in the Valley? We're gearing up for what? Strength and conditioning here at the early portion of April. Are you in the Valley right now?
No, I'm coming out there right after Easter, right at the start of OTAs. Moving days Monday, so I'll be out there, and I'm kind of looking for some properties right now, just combing through seeing where I want to live. Let me ask you guys a question. On you guys. Okay. I need 2 places or 2 areas that I should kind of finally comb through if I want to live out there somewhere.
I think my co-host Josh can tell you where not to live. Because
you don't want to live in southern Phoenix, aka Maricopa. But Bo's been around for a long time. He can give you a better piece of advice. I mean, like anywhere in the East Valley, you're chilling.
Especially with the facility in Tempe, like right there, Tempe, kind of Chandler area, right there off the I-10. I don't think you can go wrong. East Valley, just a 10-minute ride. You got your Gilbert, you got your Chandler, you got the old towns there, respectively as well. But then if you want to live kind of like I don't know, are you a married guy?
No, not married.
Scottsdale, you can't go wrong with Scottsdale. They got the bar scene.
I love how that question that's the preface to you can live in Scottsdale.
That's important out here in the Valley because there's different stomping grounds out here. So you can't go wrong. I think Scottsdale, PV area is good. So there's so many different pockets that you can go. So you said 2, right?
Yeah.
Johnny, I don't know if we're talking to a single guy here. I think Scottsdale's there.
Scottsdale's number 1 on the list, but you can be Scottsdale adjacent, right? And still be in good shape. And then, I mean, like Chandler, Gilbert-ish, close enough to Tempe.
Their old town, their restaurant scene, it's good. So
downtown Gilbert's awesome.
Right.
You'll be close enough. You can get to Tempe or the facility pretty quickly. So, I mean, it's cliche, but there are a lot of really dope, cool places to live here. That's why so many people want to come. It's one of the biggest economic, booming climates in America. So we're excited to have you, my man.
Yeah. I got to ask you about your background here. So we got Game of Thrones. We got the Dark Knight Joker over your shoulder. We got Batman. What's up with all the art behind you? Is that a hobby or a collection? You're a collector of some sort?
No, it's just my gaming room, my vibe
Love
room. Coming
Love
here. I got some more spaces, obviously, but we've redone this room. I came home and I was just like, I don't like my sitting room in my master. I need to spice it up some. So I had a couple of these canvases already, so I just figured let's fill the whole spot up with them. Cut the lights out, LED lights going crazy. Game PS5 and PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 is really the vibe. Okay,
you're talking to a couple mid to late 30-year-olds here, so we know we fuck with the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, no, I got NFL Street, NBA Street, Def Jam. I got everything.
You're speaking our language, Josh. No doubt about it, man. You've been gracious, generous with your time, man. It's been great to catch up with you. I'm a DMV guy myself, up the Northern Virginia part, DC area. You're Maryland. You played at one of the big high schools out there. You won a state championship, right? At McDonough, is that right?
Sure did.
Of course.
First one in school history. Yeah, that was
Awesome.
us.
Unbelievable. Excited to have you wearing the red, the white, maybe a little bit more yellow with some new uniforms. I don't know. Can you say anything about that? Or yellow? Yeah.
A little yellow. That's
Josh Woods, make sure you follow. He's on Instagram. You can follow him there. Great posts all the time. Looking forward to play some defense and some special teams for the Arizona Cardinals. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
See you, bud. Awesome. What a great way to cap off the show, man. New folks, new Cardinal players we can get excited about. I told you I put out some feelers. My buddy who covers Lions, he's like, you're just going to love him. He's a great player. He's a great teammate. And what I've been saying, like, they're bringing in these linebackers not to screw around. Like, everybody's going to have a chance to win a job. So, a couple first-round linebackers. Let's everybody get their pads knotted up pretty tight here. Let's go.
In these situations, it's like you give players opportunities that they haven't necessarily received in this league, and see if they can take advantage of it. And it's a low risk to the front office, but could be decent rewards. And a guy like Woods, who's he's obviously excelled on special teams. If the game slows down and he knows where he needs to be and he's in the right position at all times, and he's obviously got the athleticism to do it. Maybe it's a guy that can play significant snaps for you on the defensive side of the football and at linebacker.
After yesterday, if you're thinking to yourself, why do I want to support this team? Guys like that, players like that, opportunities to come here, change their life, make a name for themselves. I'm fired up about that. I'm also fired up. Our guy, Howard Balzer, GoPHNX.com, cranked out a new article about yesterday's findings and more. Slam that promo code Howard, HOWARD. Become a diehard. Save up to 20% on a bunch of cool stuff, including our events. But the event of the year, the draft party, is for free at Tempe, Four Peaks, April 27th, 2 p.m. onward. We're covering the first round of the NFL draft, myself and Bo Brack. Man, what a show. What a nice little Wednesday show after the hot mess that was yesterday, Bo.
Yeah, it was a nice rebound for PHNX Cardinals after kind of having a bit of a heavy episode on Tuesday to lighten things up with some uniform talk and mock draft that Johnny torpedoed, and then Josh Woods to bring us home.
You don't like A's? I'm sorry.
No, we're Cardinals fans. We don't like high grades.
Yeah. We would like if everybody here would do us a quick favor. Subscribe to PHNX Cardinals wherever you get your podcast. I'm talking open up your phone right now. Type in PHNX Cardinals where you find your podcast. Hit that little check mark. Follow this show. We're dropping an audio-only podcast in preparation for the NFL draft. You can't get anywhere else. Like us on YouTube. Like this YouTube. Subscribe. Ring that bell. I mean, I was ready to go live this morning, and then I'm like, no, we got Josh on the show. We can't go live. One day, this team's going to give us reason to do an emergency podcast. But until then, for Bo Brack, I'm Johnny Venerable. We're back at Manana, 4 p.m. We'll see you there.